Welcome to Tone Talks. Welcome to Tone Talks.
What up, y'all? This Tone Talks in the building. We coming in right now. You know I got some wonderful guests coming in. I got Yvette Carnell. I got Zoe Williams. I told y'all we gonna do this show tonight. Yvette Carnell, you there with me?
I'm here.
Oh man, Zoe's gonna be in here in a second. We just setting everything up. You know, we said we were gonna do this show tonight. We gonna do it. We gonna have a wonderful time. Y'all see this shirt? That ADOS life. We in it. You know, everybody been buzzing. From Kamala Harris to Angela Rye to, you know, everybody talking now. Everybody understands what we saying. This is a show about black love in the ADOS America. We having to talk about wealth, about race, about everything else. Where I'm trying to go with this thing is I'm trying to make sure that we have a grounding on how we talk about black love, how we talk about politics. Zoe in the building. Thanks so much for coming over, having this discussion with us. So,
Yeah.
you know, everybody been saying, what y'all talking about with this ADOS? Y'all divisive. Y'all talking about blackness. Kamala is black enough. I brought Yvette on to kind of talk about that for a second. Then we gonna get right into the Valentine's Day special. I brought Zoe Williams, author of several books. I'm gonna let him talk about one of his books that just came out, The Holographic Relationship. I did the foreword. And we gonna get into it about how ADOS matters to black life and black love. Yvette, let's get right to it. Bakari Sellers is talking. Angela Rye is talking. Kamala Harris is talking. Everybody talking, but none of it making sense. We talking about blackness when we talking about ADOS policy, American Descendants of Slavery. For over a generation, we've been forgotten, and I'm here to make sure we remember. Yvette, tell them why Bakari don't make no sense.
Well, the first reason, you know, he said he went on the Breakfast Club and he said, you know, basically these trolls, you know, we're judging somebody's blackness and you know, nobody's blacker and all this stuff. And like at first, I don't know what to make of it, but I have two choices, but neither choice is good. Either when we talk about Bakari, either he's at a place where he doesn't understand what we're saying and he can't hit the nuance, or he's at a place where he's just being an intentional kind of democratic operative who is being used to thwart what we're doing. But neither one of those choices is that doesn't say very good things about you.
Yeah, man. And this is what's a trip is that this is some simple stuff. What we not talking about no osmosis. We ain't talking about how you make water out of salt. We talking about some basic stuff that you have to do before you get to reparations. American Descendants of Slavery isn't about divisiveness. No one says that somebody's divisive by calling themselves Jamaican or Nigerian in America. But somehow recognizing the fact that we come from chattel slaves and we're owed a debt, and that reality makes us not just black, but actually more American than probably anybody else that is here, is a problem. It's a real problem. See, when we get this agenda together, y'all gonna see how this matters. You know, I want to see the numbers. How many of these 13 black people at Google, you know, I'm roughly estimating are actually ADOS. I think they pretty much almost all foreigners. Because what you got is that we've collapsed. And that's why we can't have black love, because we don't have the stability to undergird it. You know, Yvette, I don't want to hold you too long. Anything you want to say about this Russian bots and Roland Martin?
While you on Bakari Sellers, let me just say one thing. What we have with Angela Rye and Bakari Sellers is they both had like these civil rights activist fathers. His father got shot, you know, during like this kind of mob violence. You know, the same thing. Angela Rye's father was very active, and what we see also is people who are trying to kind of ride off the steam of their parents' movement. Like Reggie said, they're trying to do activism by proxy, and they're trying to do two things at one time. So you have Bakari, he'll go into Denmark and talk about how the water they put a chemical in there and everybody needs to file a class action lawsuit and we're going to take them to task. And then he'll go on to Twitter and say, oh my God, New York made a bad decision by not letting Amazon in. Now understand that Amazon pays zero taxes, right, when they file their most recent tax return. Understand that they go into to communities and plunder, and I don't think we understand. And so I'm talking about in terms of the tax giveaways, right? And you never have the amount of jobs or the kinds of jobs promised. Now, what I'm trying to say about that is this. People say, well, what's the connection to ADOS? Because we need a government to have money to do the transformational stuff that we're trying to talk about. And you can't, on one hand, say you're for black people and all this stuff that you want to say, but on the other hand, you're in favor of stuff that is not good for this government having the money to do what it needs to do to redress us and our communities. Those two things contradict each other.
Yeah, I have to agree. Black love in the ADOS America. You have to start wondering, how did we get here to a point where black life is under everybody else? We built this place. Everything, a piece of everything is ours. And somehow we didn't get taught that by the last generation. We here to claim ours. Claim the name. We got the conference coming October 4th and 5th. We gonna be in Louisville. We want everybody to support. That this is a real thing now. Washington Post, The Intercept, Philly.com. Shout out to everybody who's covering this. Hey, Yvette, tell them what you thought about the Washington Post article.
Well, for those who don't know, there was a Washington Post article that quoted what I said in the Philly Inquirer, right? So at Philly.com. And so what happened is they called us. Now, understand. Let me just say this.
What they call us?
Understand. They call us African descendants of slaves. We have the whole foundation that we've laid is for a justice claim here, not a justice claim in a huge landmass continent of Africa. That's not what we're doing. And the other part of that is we don't want to be viewed. For too long, we have been viewed as the children of Africa, as if they're paternal and we're their children, we're their little lost kids. And what happens to that relationship when that is the relationship is that they're always viewed higher up on the hierarchy. So what you have to do is you have to change that whole hierarchy. We're American. This is where we are. This is the only home we've ever known. We built this country in more ways than one, and you have to have everything come from that. So when you put African in there, you have to do an immediate correction because that undermines everything that we stand for.
We here to change a nation. We here to change Black America. Kamala got up on the Breakfast Club just rambling, talking. I had my issues with Charlemagne. I told him ain't no black privilege, and he started running around tweeting and this and that. Look, dude, you ain't interviewing people right. Send her over to Dash. We'll do it right. So we here to have this discussion about ADOS. We've been having it all week. I got my wonderful co-founder of the hashtag ADOS, Yvette Carnell. I ain't gonna hold her too long because I gotta get to my man Fire Zoe Williams, relationship expert. It's been Valentine's Day, so we're gonna talk about a little ADOS in America. Yvette, thank you so much for calling.
No problem. Appreciate it, Tom.
Oh, man.
See you later, Yvette.
Yeah, hey.
Bye, Zoe.
All right.
Yeah, say it from a distance. You ain't getting none of Yvette. No, I'm just kidding. So look, this is where we at. Black love in the ADOS America. This is a Valentine special. How your lineage should root your purpose in intimate relationships. The guest I have today is the wonderful Zoe Williams, relationship expert, author of The Holographic Relationship. Powerful book. I mean, I read it early, I'll admit, because I had to do the foreword. And he's killing them. So we're going to have him talk a little bit. Pick the book up. You can get it on Amazon, right?
The Kindle version came out last night.
Congratulations.
Valentine's Day. I did that on purpose.
I know. Congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Listen to his show here on Dash Radio. He was in here lacing people with knowledge, show before mine. Let's go through the questions. You know how we do it. Number one, why is rooting and lineage important to intimate relationship, purpose, direction, community? We'll talk about that in a second. Number two, has everyone been running from ADOS? Has everyone been running from ADOS partners because of what American racism left in ADOS families? Is everybody trying to pattern match? I like me a good Caribbean woman because she know how to cook. I like me a good foreign woman because she don't talk back.
Running from ADOS.
I like me a good foreign man because he has money. He has money because he's from Nigeria. These are all, tropes and stereotypes, but so many people use them to actually make decisions about how they gonna date. But we're not here to talk about it. We're here to dig into it and talk to you about why that's wrong. We're gonna have it out tonight. Number three, how does reparations change the position of ADOS in dating and mating? What happens if all the ADOS men and women all of a sudden are just like the wealthiest white folk? What happens to the positionality of ADOS, American descendants of slavery, if they're no longer the bottom, and all of a sudden you get all kind of privileges from dating and marrying them? Come on. What does that do to blackness in America? Let's talk about it. Number 4, what role does faith in the church play in ADOS love? Hashtag ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery.
Yeah.
Discipline, community. I'm going to let Zoe get into that because you know he digs deep with it. And number 5, where do we go now? If ADOS are financially unstable, how do we build love in an American financial storm? How many of y'all couldn't afford Valentine's last night? I want y'all to tell me at the end of the show, how many of y'all tried to Uber to get all your little ducats together to take somebody you didn't know out for Valentine's? Let's talk about whether that made sense. Oh, yeah, we getting into it. So, Zoe,
Yeah.
you know, I got you here. You know, it's kind of hard to catch you. So let me ask you this just straight up. Why is it important to know where you come from to have a good love, like intimate love connection?
Well, knowing where you come from, right? That's a twofold question. Number 1, it's knowledge of self, your culture, your tradition, your belief systems, right? But then number 2, it's where you stand in society, what resources you have, right? And when both of those things are lacking or imbalanced in some way, that's going to lead to a level of conflict in relationships. You hear a lot of relationship specialists or scientists say or speak of this model called the ideals standards model, which means basically we got to think the same. We got to agree. You hear religious folks say equally yoked, right? Here's why that's important. Because if you're dealing with someone who is totally unaware of their financial legacy as well as their cultural legacy, you're dealing with a lost person. Someone that needs to be shepherded by you, somebody that needs to be grown up by you, especially if you come from a family that's rooted on both sides of that, both economically, lineage-wise, as well as culturally. We know who we are. We know where we're from. If you're dealing with people who don't have any one of those things, that's basically a dependent. You might want to claim them on your taxes.
How many of us are rooted, though? If Steve Harvey, your daddy, are you rooted? Come on, we talking about integrity.
Here we go.
We having a discussion. Is it just about like having
Let's
money?
get it.
Come on. If your daddy's teaching you that you can be, you know, I'll be a monkey for $4 million, is that really being rooted?
But see, and again, money creates a type of, I would say, this insulated bubble to where you're not really connected to the I would say the pulse of life in a lot of ways. You'll see it in sports, where if you see a kid that comes from privilege, he doesn't have the same kind of motor that a kid who comes from a disadvantaged situation does. He plays not as hard. He plays with a lack of focus. That's because whether he makes it in the sport is for fun for him. It's not for livelihood. So you see that in relationship too. You'll see a person who comes from privilege who feels like, first off, let's just deal with money and resources in relationship. What it does is it extends the relationship by giving you something that po folk don't have, and that's leisure time.
Come on.
This is why when you do the research, you'll see marriages that have money and resources last, I think it's 6 to 9 years longer than marriages that don't have resources.
Look here, though. Look here. That's talking as though everything's stable. We're
Right.
living in a time of wealth calcifying. How many of y'all work today and then Uber that night? Let's just talk
Damn.
about it. How many
Damn.
ADOS out here living a life that don't leave no time for you to live your life? We got to have this discussion because we shouldn't be in this position. You got to understand that part of this push is the last show, I missed last week. I had William Darity. William Darity created baby bonds that Cory Booker is running on. That was my guest the last show. Since then, he's talked to Marianne Williamson, who actually put forth the reparations plan and told her that $100 billion ain't gonna hit it. We need about $2-3 trillion. That's the difference between this discussion and what you see on the Breakfast Club. We not finna just ask you, do you believe in reparations? We finna ask you, what's your plan, what's your policy, and how much? That's where we at. We having a real discussion. And I say that to you because when we start to look at this thing and unpack what Zoe just said about leisure time, we ain't even got time for living, let alone some leisure.
Well, and on top of that, you don't even have time to get sick. See, a lot of people who are working from check to check, which is most of us, you can't afford sickness.
I don't even know if we live in check to check. They said I read an article recently that said most about half of people don't even pay their car note no more. They just driving it.
Hiding it.
And understand this though. Understand this.
That's
Trump's
tough.
tax reforms. I was reading about how Trump's tax reforms makes Uber not make sense. It was like a delivery driver who last year got a $6,000 refund. He got $500 this year. So they ain't even gonna let you do Uber no more. You're gonna have to just like not report to do Uber and make a little bit of money, your little $4 an hour. This is where we at. And somebody would say, well, this is not just ADOS. And what I'm saying to you is I'm only talking about ADOS right now.
Right.
And I'm also telling you that when you talk about white America, we've talked about the numbers. They have classes. You have almost 14 million white families over $1 million. Half the white race has more than $150,000 in homes. 30% of white homes are over $600,000. They have wealth. When you look at black America, other than Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, ain't nobody got no bread. So then we letting them talk for us while we broke. Bottom 90% of the race is living on nearly no wealth. Bottom half is living on less than $1 combined. We got to have this discussion because it's necessary for our families. Dash Radio, Dash Talk X, we having it out today. I'm going to let y'all call in a second. I'm just setting it up. Let me let it simmer. But
let it simmer.
You know, we gotta have it because Zoe, I don't know if you saw it. She can, they trying to do damage control over there at the Breakfast Club because she came on there. Kamala came on there and she said blickety black black black. And at the end of the day,
I'm blackety blackety blickety black.
At the end of the day, what we didn't hear is what is your plan for ADOS? What is your plan for Black America as a whole? What is your plan for poor people? Not no lift plan. We talking about a real plan where we start dealing with the fact that what Yvette just pointed out. If Jeff Bezos don't pay no taxes, there can't be no money for no reparations. Jeff Bezos is not paying his taxes today.
After $11 billion in revenue.
Come on.
We talking about Amazon.com.
Yes.
$11 billion in revenue for 2018, $0 paid in taxes.
So how you expect to get your kids to go to school? How you expect to have your Valentine's? We having it out today. So when we talk about this thing, purpose, direction, and community, that's in that first question. Why is rooting important? When I look at this thing, I think so many of us lost the sense of community that comes out of things like, let's just talk about it, the black church, comes out of things like community gatherings. We just all individuals just out here just running. Just striving, just chasing. So then when we look around, we ain't got no happy. You give us a little leisure time, what we do with it? Give it right back.
But see, this is why the anxiety that is associated with the hustle is inherent in our current transactional relationship model. I need you to hear that. There is an anxiety that is associated with poverty.
There's an anxiety that you ain't getting yours back. The transaction ain't fair for you.
There is an anxiety associated with the hustle.
How many of y'all didn't want to go on Valentine's because you wasn't going to get none last night? You counting. How many of y'all just couldn't just go eat? Just go eat and just let the night go. You wondering if she gonna call tomorrow. How many of y'all are unstable both emotionally and financially? Let's have it. Let's have the discussion. When we look at ADOS, when we look at descendants of American slavery, we have to back this thing out and understand, unlike any other place, the way that it was practiced here, they made us akin to like a cow. They broke up our families. They kept us in all kind of frustrated ways. And that rivets down into our lives today. And we just ain't had this discussion. And what we want to do is give you a place to have this discussion. I see you guys shouting it out. We got the chat going. Please go to YouTube, Tone Talks. Use the super chat. Support the channel. This is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. We having the discussion here. Please share this. Share this across YouTube. I want to make sure that we get this discussion wide. We got about 1,000 people on the box. We got millions listening on Dash Radio. I got the wonderful Zoe Williams in here. And we having a conversation about direction. So if you don't know that you come from a chattel slave, you want to tell me, I'm not from no slave. I'm from kings and queens. How we gonna talk about an American relationship? Because you ain't got no inheritance from that kings and queens. The lack of inheritance that you have today ties directly to redlining and then making you a contagion to wealth, destruction of black businesses during Tulsa riots, chattel slavery where they made your ancestors into nothing and the bottom of nothing. And we want to talk about kings and queens in some place long ago. How can we do it? How does that work?
Again, the fantasy is the Linus blanket, the new Linus blanket. You know, you gotta believe in something. You know, and it's unfortunate, but that's what it is. And this is why I keep telling you, the purpose of intimate relationship is for self-revelation. It is a spiritual purpose.
Come on.
But you can't even get to the spiritual purpose because the toxicity of poverty in this society has you so focused on your hamster wheel of hustle, right? Of toxic ambition that you can't even see why you attracted the person you have right now for your spiritual development. Your spiritual development is damn near a fantasy and not real to you because your bills are due.
You ever seen somebody hustle their way out of peace? Come on. You peaceful, and then you just started hustling because you don't like peacefulness.
Damn.
You go out there and find your frustration. You know what I mean? Young brothers I see got their apartment and everything and go out and find some woman to frustrate their life.
Damn.
Learn how to be peaceful. ADOS is about learning a lot of things about where you come from and how you can like progress in this nation. It's not just reparations. We talking infrastructure. We talking tax reform. We talking a bunch of programs, but we also talking about you and your family. Understand this. Understand this. We got to talk about it. Has everyone been running from ADOS? I'm going to open up the phone lines, 323-230-4610. Please call in. I want to get your opinion on this. My opinion, we did the show on black marriage pattern matching. We talked about this whole show. I don't think we're being honest about why people don't date a descendants of American slavery. This is the discussion. See, this is a part of it. This is about having a discussion that we haven't had for a generation. I think we just say, well, it's because he went to prison. It's because his mama don't be around to take care of the kids and help us. It's because his family always asking for money. Holographic relationship.
Bam.
Right in your book. But what we don't deal with is why all that stuff exists.
Right.
You know, I talked about it. I don't have no problem in telling y'all. My mama had me at 16. My daddy had me at 16. There's a consequence that come from that when they mama and they daddy had them young as well. All this comes out of a legacy, a lineage. We ain't dealt with it. But then we all walk in and talk about it like we Bill Cosby.
Right.
Like it's just going to work out. Let's take the first caller tonight. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, what's going on, man? It's Danny from LA.
Hey, what's up, man? You know you from the hometown. What's your take on this thing?
You already know.
What's your take on this thing?
Man, I'm calling about a couple different things right now in relation to ADOS, man. First off, it's been a hectic week on Twitter this week. And this was the first time that I was ever exposed to the fact a lot of these Pan-Africanist pseudo-intellectuals are really anti-black ADOS.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're right.
And it's crazy because if you want to be able to identify who your friends are, all you got to do is start to come up. And the people who actually care about you are going to celebrate the come up. Instead, the people who are supposed to have our back, who claim to be Pan-Africanists, are on Twitter bashing, berating, trying to browbeat pro-ADOS people into going the Pan-Africanist route, saying that we're products of white supremacy because we believe in ADOS and because we claim America and things like that. And I think it's very important, man, that we highlight these individuals and realize that they're not part of us. They're actually not for us.
I think above 80% of black people, of ADOS people, will never leave America. And I think like 50% don't even leave their neighborhood. So look, you telling people that will live their whole life in a country to view that country like it isn't their country when their family built that country. Don't make no sense. I'm just saying to you, this is just basic stuff that we doing right here. We not even doing no calculus. This is just arithmetic. So they telling us to call Africa Africa when people in Africa don't call Africa Africa. Come on, they don't do that. I'm just saying. I was in South Africa. They didn't want the Zimbabweans there. I'm just saying. I'm saying to you that in Africa, that's not one place. It's a continent. It's not like Mexico. We got to stop calling Africa like a country. Because we might as well believe in Wakanda, too. Caller, anything else you want to say? The lines are lit. I want to give everybody a chance to get in here.
Yeah, I'm about to hop off real quick. The last thing I just want to mention, though, man, is that one of the things that the Pan-Africans always try to throw back in our face is a clip of your dad talking about the fact that we need to be made white, the fact that we consider slave owners to be part of our lineage and ancestry. And that's one thing that I have to, while I support y'all 100%, I have to adamantly disagree with, because I don't consider slave owners to be part of my lineage. I don't need to be made white. I just need to be made whole, and I need that blood debt to be paid to me that's owed based off of the work that our ancestors put in.
All right, man. All right. I love it when people call in. Thank you so much for calling.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. So let me answer that. They still in your blood, fam. Look, we as ADOS are mixed of slave owner and slave, primarily slave though. And we didn't get the benefits. They got something called the Black McCains. You know John McCain, the one that died? They got the Black McCains. You know, they go to the family reunion and all that, and eat and everything. They got to eat separately, I think. I'm just kidding. But they don't get none of the inheritance. I'm saying to you, whether you want to accept it or not, whether you want to deal with it or not, you were born of America, and America, as a result, was born of you. You created this place. Please stop running around here with weird flags. Our flag is the American flag. We call it American Descendants of Slavery because America is first. We need to own this place because we live here and our families live here, and this place owes our families a great debt. Understand that slavery, when we talk about it, please stop telling me about enslaved, because it's slavery, the institution. There's no enslavery institution. There's no ENSLAVERY institution. There's only the institution of slavery, which allows us to bring a claim against the nation that codified that, which is America. Let's take another caller.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, man. So your name, and tell me what you think about this topic. But I want to ask you specifically, has everyone been running from ADOS dating partners and talking about how good everybody else is, from white people to foreign black people, and really not dealing with, you just don't want to date somebody that descends from American slavery?
My name is Major. I'm calling out of New Orleans. I don't think that anybody's running from ADOS. One thing that I do notice, whenever I hear about an African marrying an American, it's usually like an African woman marrying an American man. So I don't know. I really don't hear it going too much the other way. And I don't know whether that's because maybe some feeling about stereotypes. But one thing that I want to hear y'all, talk about, if they do decide to do reparations, is it going to be census-based? Is it going to be off of birth and death certificates? Is it going to be off, I don't know. Something scares me about them where if they decide, they say, okay, we're going to start doing DNA tests to see if people are ADOS. But definitely you, Yvette, Zoe, love y'all's work, and we just going to keep pushing forward. I'm going to get off and listen to your answers. I appreciate you taking my call, bro.
Oh, man, thank you so much for calling in. Look, I defer to people that's been doing this for decades. I bring them on to you guys to kind of give you information. One of the leading economists in the area is William Darity. I did a report with him. He has a great paper. Go pick it up. It's 40 Acres and a Mule in the 21st Century. What he uses as criteria is he uses a combination of, do you have slave ancestors, and also have you been marking black on your actual documents for the last 10 years, your license and things like that, combination of those. I also think that in discussions, I would add that there's a difference between if you came here as, stay at Stokely Carmichael or something like that, and you had Jim Crow, do you have a specific damage in that case? Versus I think there's a general damage of standing in the shoes for descendants of slaves. And then there's a question of amount. Does somebody who's full on coming from slavery versus somebody who's biracial get different amounts? These are discussions that have to be had. But we haven't even been able to have the discussion, because if they gave it out today, a Nigerian fresh here would get it just like a black person. ADOS changes all that, and they don't want to hear that. I believe that right now, all of the majority, some but not all, of black success is foreigner. I think if you took the foreigners out, black America wouldn't be in none of the Fortune 500s. It wouldn't be. Understand that most of these little segment producers and editors at the newspapers, they're foreigners. They're not ADOS people. But understand that there's, out of 40 million blacks, 35 million of the black people are ADOS. So that 5 million is like all the black success. But part of it is because they have two-parent households. They come from wealth sometimes. A whole bunch of things that makes them just as easier to choose. See, to choose us, you got to fix us. To choose us, you got to fix us. That's why it's called reparations. Let me take another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, hey. Can I ask you a question? Can I take you with me on a question? So look.
Yes, sir, you sure can. I just want to thank you so much. I want to thank you and Yvette and Zoe. Thank you all so much for doing all the work that y'all do. Okay, now you go ahead and ask me the question.
And we love you back. So look here. If they gave out reparations and all of a sudden black men had some wealth in their accounts, would that change things at the club? Would that change things? How would reparations change how we date and move, in terms of stability in your mind?
Well, me personally, I don't hang out in the clubs and things like that. That's not where I would go. So if someone trying to, if they got reparations and they go into the club, I don't think that's where you need to find a mate to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's not the important thing. But I mean, there would be more black on black blood. I think if they do get reparations and men get in the club, there would be more women like, oh, I want him because I know he has the reparation package. But I was calling in just to let everyone know that, growing up in Philly, growing up with, two parents in the household, that doesn't necessarily mean that you had a good, role model of what black love really is. Like me and my fiance, we both had parents that were married, but we were like toolboxes with no tools inside. And, we've been together since 2009 trying to work out all our issues. And we finally, in 2019, we're finally ready to get married. So if you're going to be in black love, you got to put in the work. You got to, say, I know this person is flawed. I know his family was probably flawed, but I'm willing to put in the work. I'm willing to put in the time, the energy to be with that person. It's not about going out. It's not about partying. It's not about going to the club. It's about, being with each other and having full happiness and peace. And you all can achieve that if you're willing to put in the time and the commitment.
Man, that's so powerful. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, take care. Love y'all.
You too. Love you back.
Thank you.
Zoe, explain the toolbox with no tools. She hit us kind of hard.
That hurts. Toolbox for relationships, communication styles. Do you know yours? Do you know your partner's? Do you know if you and your partner's communication styles are compatible or not so much? Also, do you have a lot of compartmentalized baggage that, you hide behind a particular mask you project? All of these things in your tool have to be in your toolbox. In other words, you have to be able to unpack and unravel all of the things that you've been through, all of the things that you have yet to address, things that you have yet to face. If the quality of your relationship with your mother or your father is in disrepute, you got to go back and undo that if you want to relate to somebody on a high functioning level. Again, if you don't have the desire to want to tackle these things, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have the tools to be able to really find a solution to why they're still in your life. And then you're going to attract people that are reflecting you back to yourself, saying, this needs to be dealt with. This needs to be dealt with. Then you start asking the question, why do I have the same kind of person? Why am I dealing with the same kind of person? That's because you keep avoiding what the relationship actually represents. Again, you heard me say earlier, relationships are inherently spiritual, but spirituality in a transactional, money-based material society starts to look fictional, starts to look fake. The spirit ain't gonna pay my bills. Wisdom ain't gonna feed my kids. So again, in this transactional society, the things that matter most be the superficial things. The structural, the social things take the lead. And then the part that is about you, how do I heal from what my uncle did?
So let me ask you this, though. Mm-hmm. Let's bring it to you. When we look at ADOS and we look at, the common threads of the cost of just destroying black wealth, destroying black culture, destroying black family for multiple generations, is there a unique cost that ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, are bearing that nobody is really talking about?
Of course. And it becomes this ship of burden that everybody wants to hop off of into interracial relationship. It's an abandonment of
or intraracial,
right? It's an abandonment of blackness in America that has been cultivated by the powers that be.
You're a nice guy, but I can't marry you because I got to marry a Nigerian.
Or an Asian or a white man or anybody that can remove me.
But we made it better if you marry a black other.
If you marry a black other, they still black.
That's what we did,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And what that did is buried ADOS even further.
Exactly.
Let's take another caller.
Hey, Tone, it's your girl Kim from Chicago.
Hey, what up? So look, tell me, what role does faith and church play in ADOS love? You know, I have my belief that church, no matter what you believe, gives you one thing, which is hopefully discipline. Hopefully you can go in there and get a little more discipline than you walked in with when you walk out. The other thing that I look at is a sense of community. You know, my Aunt Bessie, she go out to the church and she got people to vote for Stacey Abrams. She got to, how many of our young people are going into these churches and becoming part of the active community through the church? So you have a relationship, but y'all don't do nothing in the community and y'all don't go to church and y'all want to have a black relationship that's rooted without black politics. Tell me something. What do you think the role of faith in the church play in ADOS love?
Well, first of all, I think we need to get away from religion in general, because I believe religion has been kind of a weapon of white supremacy to keep us kind of behind. We need to evolve out of that. So the average black woman going into church today is not going to find a man in church. Let's be honest. Most of the men in church are homosexuals or they're already.
There's a lot of presumptions here. Let me say something to you. I said. I
agree with her so far.
I don't. Let me say why. I said religion and I said the church. I separate I said faith actually. Okay. And then I said the church, because what I'm saying is, and I think we lost sight of what the church is as an institution,
what it used to
in
be
the black community,
right?
Because what it is actually, I just came back from Louisville, and that's what they're doing.
Right.
If that's not the right church for you, you need to find another church home. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about churches that go out and help the homeless. I'm talking about churches that go out and get Stacey Abrams more votes. I'm talking about churches that take you out of your house watching Housewives and get you into a community of black people that need your social capital to survive. And I guess come on.
I don't think we're disagreeing very much here. I think we're missing each other's point. I stated it earlier. Relationships are spiritual. What happens is, if you look at a high level of vibration, a high level of consciousness, you could say spirituality is the high level. Dogma and religion is the low level. Dogma and religion produces prejudice and judgment and condemnation. That's not what we're talking about. Right. We're talking about a higher level of consciousness. And remember what I said before, money and resources provides leisure time, which gives you time to self-reflect. A lot of times that's the spiritual process that the relationship is designed to give you. We don't have that. I think that's what the sister is saying. There are some churches out there, and you're right, but there are a lot of churches out there that are as predatory as R. Kelly.
Yeah, bringing in the Chase Bank.
So we have to remember that part.
So look, caller. This is Dash Radio, Dash Talk X. Please go to YouTube, join the discussion, use the super chat. I'm going to open it broader for you, caller. Tell me what you think about the whole topic.
Well, the whole topic. I think that as Black Americans, ADOS, we do need to have the foundation of family. I think that it's very important for us to have more marriages in our community, because marriage is the foundation and the structure of a family. And I think that's kind of the reason why we have a lot of dysfunction in our family. No blame of our own. No blame of our own. We already know that this was all orchestrated. But I do think that people in our age group, 30s, 40s, should really start to consider and date with the purpose of having a mate, of building a family, so that we can have our children growing up in two-parent households, so that we can put our money together, even if it's pennies, put it together to raise our families, and just have that structure where women are not struggling as single parents doing it all alone, and the men are not out here feeling like they're alone. They got a woman at home, they got their back. So I think that it's important, and it's something that we need to get back to, valuing relationships and family.
Man, thank you so much for calling in and giving your piece.
Yeah.
Like sweet potato pie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Shut up, Tom.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Look here, Zoe. We bringing in the deep discussion that needs to happen for Black America to progress, for America to see us. This is Dash Radio. We're all across the country. We on YouTube. We doing it today.
Yes, sir.
So look, I'm gonna take another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Hello?
Yeah, hello there. Yeah, my name is Alonzo, and I'm calling from San Antonio.
Hey, Alonzo. Alonzo, give me your take on the topic of Black love in the ADOS America. We here on this Valentine's Day special, day late, but we having it. Give it to me.
Well, here's the breakdown. I'm going to give you a little bit of background from me. I'm going to be brief. I'm retired military. I was overseas the majority of my time, so I've been back stateside for about 2 years. So to speak to your question, it's a challenge because, you know, part of knowing about the ADOS experiences, knowing about the identity, knowing about your lineage and so forth. So it's like, you know, I find myself, you know, being enlightened, learning, reading books. You know, I've been following yourself along with a vet, Cornell, and the whole movement and everything. And I've been, one of the things I do is I talk to family. I tell the family, like, you know, family is the structure, it's the foundation. So it's like, you know, when I'm talking to my mom, I was like, hey, look, we need, these were our grandparents. Who were their grandparents? You know, try to map the whole manual lineage out and actually have that conversation with your family. So back to your question as far as relationships, it's the same token. When you come across and meet somebody and you say, hey, you know, and you're conversing, you know, you're trying to get to know a person, because I'm in my 40s, I'm single, never been married, no kids, no debt. You know, I'm very regimented as far as what I want to be, as far as a man coming to the table and being able to provide for my family. But on that same token, my challenge is when I bring all that stuff to the table, mentally, spiritually, physically sound, bring that to the table, it tends to be overwhelming for the women I come across. They're like, well, you're too good to be true. You're like a unicorn. I get called all these names and stuff. Like, no, I'm serious. And I got books. I read books all the time. Like, hey, this, you know, we are at war here in the United States. And I'm being honest. It's like, I'm serious about this. Like, we really, you know, to speak to your other question as far as having wealth, it's the same thing. My mindset is we need to sit our family down and be looking toward the future. Like chess, I'm looking toward generational wealth. You know, building things for the future, sitting our kids down and having the kids read what's going on in the world. Let me say this in this month. Let me say this. Let me get in here. You know, I want Zoe to speak to you and being a unicorn. I'm gonna let him talk to that, because, you know, we gonna talk about it. But before we get to that, let me say I did a paper with Sandy Darity last year, 10 myths to close the racial wealth gap. We talked about financial literacy. One of the things that I think is happening is we're in the middle of a transition that people refuse to accept. And what that transition is showing is it's okay, it's good not to spend your money up when you get it, like in your check. But fundamentally, what they've done with capital is they've allowed for the top to hoard everything. So financial literacy in and of itself only works if we get a transformative undergirding to support that. So what do I mean? We look back to the New Deal. We look back to civil rights. What happens is the government says you're not gonna take advantage of people and have them Uber driving at night. So you're gonna unionize them and pay them properly. So once you pay me properly, now I can manage that money that you've paid me properly with. Now also what you're gonna do is you're not gonna make schools so expensive. They gotta take all the money that they made and they're saving to pay for a school for their kid. See, like, I think that they've set up the whole game where that whole model can end up making you so frustrated that it ends up making your relationship unhappy. A big cycle, because you're not stepping back and looking at the whole picture. But I'm gonna let you speak, but let me let Zoe get in here about unicorns and planning.
Here's the thing. When it comes to relationship and successful relationships, yes, you need money. That's just off rip. Yeah, you need money. But if you don't have money and you find yourself in a relationship, when I say you don't have money, you may not have the money that some wealthy person has. The first thing that relationship has to do is to say, whatever aspirations and dreams, right, that we have, they have to be realistic to what is available to us now.
Come on.
It can't be, well, you know what? All I got to do is keep believing, and as a man thinketh in his heart. That's true. But if that thought process is not aligned with a skill set, a work ethic,
or a pressure on government to respect that thought process.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like if all of these things aren't in alignment, you just dreaming. You just dreaming. And
write it down. I've always tell people, you write, if you have dreams, goals, aspirations, you write them down. Once you put them down, once you put those dreams down to paper, it becomes a reality. It becomes short-term goals. This is what I plan on doing within the next 6 months to a year. The next 10 years down the road, this is where I plan on being. And you got to work at it every day. Do something towards your goals.
Right.
Look here, caller. I'm going to try to take one more caller for the night. Thank you so much for calling in.
Oh, no problem.
So let me say this. Putting something down on paper don't make it real. Well, let me say this. Writing, this is the Oprah kind of methodology that came out of government made Oprah as much as Oprah made Oprah. They made a decision that they were going to support and pressure media to make space for black people.
Oprah was selected. Right.
And so I'm saying this to say that I totally agree that you have to commit to an idea. But that idea must be pressured into it. We are born into, ADOS is important because it tells you what America created us as. If you don't understand that, then you writing on paper, not understanding where you at in the order of things. Today, more African American men that come from ADOS are incarcerated than all women on the planet. So tell those men to write down their dreams on the paper. Right. I'm saying to you that it wasn't a matter of them not writing down dreams or believing in themselves. It's a matter of failed politics for over a generation. It's a matter of allowing Obama to go through 8 years without delivering for black folks that put him in the office. I'm saying to you today that we are here to have a discussion of where we're going, where we're at, and where we need to go to survive, to thrive. I'm going to take one more caller for the night. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
It's going down.
We got the lines lit. I'm just trying to give everybody a chance. Dana, we got Dana. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? Look, Dana, I'm going to ask you the last question. You got to keep it brief, 2 to 3 minutes.
I had something to add.
No. I got something for you because you got the last question of the night. Where do we go now if ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, are financially unstable? How do we build love in an American financial storm? Come on.
That's really big. That's like bigger than I can imagine right now. But I'll say humility, to humble ourselves and heal ourselves from within, to want to be with each other, to love each other, to lean each other, to understand. And I don't think we have that right now. And
understanding is worth more than money.
Yeah,
okay.
A lot of people don't understand that.
We have to what I want to say though is that we have to be willing to do it. See, a lot of our issues stem from we speak different languages, but we're not trying to understand each other. We're not trying to learn that other person's language or what they have to say. We just want what they have, and then leaving other people to pick up the pieces.
I have to agree. We don't have no integrity. We not sitting here understanding. Where does this person come from? Most of us don't even care what their parents are, let alone what their grandparents are, let alone what slaves that they come from. We need to start caring about those things because that's what makes the person that's in front of you. So you just want the person that's in front of you to be some idea that you had on a poster since you was little. None of that works out. We here to have the discussion.
That's the pathology. That's the pathology of that person's, history.
Come on. So look, Dana, I thank you so much for calling in. You killed it to end the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man.
You guys have a good one. And I love what you're doing. I just remember this was, those thoughts, and he gave you a show. Now the whole country is talking about ADOS. I've already bought my
ticket for the conference. I can't wait to put on that sweatshirt.
Well,
and I just support everything that, Tone, you and Yvette do. I watch your shows, it's prime time for me. I want to hear what everybody is saying. I want to know what's going on and how we move forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
As a people.
Thank you so much. Let me say this. And this man is in here, and y'all don't know that he the program director. And Zoe came to me a year and a half ago, and I didn't even ask him for no show. Mm-hmm. He said, I see the YouTube channel. Let me give you a show. His thoughts, his vision has allowed me to spread this message across the nation. Yvette brings it to you Mondays and Wednesdays, and on Fridays I bring it to you after Zoe's show. He's shown nothing but support for ADOS. He himself is ADOS, and I just want to say support him. He has a book that just came out, and I think it's a powerful book. I did the foreword in it.
Oh, yeah, you killed it.
I want to let you talk about the book for a second.
Well, it just came out. The digital version of it just came out. I'll have physical copies later in the week. It's being printed up. But the digital copy is available on Kindle, Amazon.com. It's called The Holographic Relationship. And a lot of the spiritual principles that I'm talking about on this show are encapsulated in a unique way within this book. It's broken into 3 sections. Section 1 is the science of relationship, where I take cutting edge scientific concepts and I recontextualize them into relationship concepts. Really powerful stuff. In the middle of the book is a full-fledged novel, which incorporates those concepts. And then at the end is a 100 questionnaire worksheet for you to do. It's a workbook for you to self-reflect. Very hard-hitting questions. And that's the first time that I know of any book had a novel, new relationship concepts, and a workbook all in one. So The Holographic Relationship by Zoe Williams is on Amazon.com. Do me a favor, go pick up your copy right now.
Man, look, this is Tone Tux. We out here, we pushing the message. ADOS is here. I had the wonderful Yvette Cornell. Support her show, Breaking Brown, Mondays and Wednesdays on YouTube. I just want to say I thank y'all for all of the support. We've been pushing all year, but particularly the last week, we've had great articles on the Post. Go check it out, The Intercept, and also Philly.com. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep this discussion going. This is the Valentine's special. Black love in the ADOS America. Share this video. We out. Thank you for tuning in to Tone